A major shakeup tonight at Boeing after a string of scary incidents involving the aircraft. The company's CEO announcing today he will step down.
China's government has reportedly ordered its domestic airlines to stop accepting deliveries of Boeing jets and to halt purchases of aircraft parts from the U.S.
Overnight machinists at Boeing here in St. Louis are operating without a contract agreement.
Workers have voted down a recent offer, and the current agreement expired at midnight.
Workers rejected a recent proposal, and the existing contract lapsed at midnight. Tensions are mounting in America's industrial core, not sparked by scandal or sudden catastrophe, but by a corporate choice with far-reaching consequences. A single announcement tipped the scales between one of the nation's most storied manufacturers and the government that once backed it. Boeing, a titan of American aerospace, disclosed plans to shift part of its production to Mexico. What seemed a strategic business move swiftly became a national lightning rod. Within days, the White House fired back with a severe threat: a 200% tariff on aircraft built overseas. A company that shaped American industry now finds itself pinned down in its own territory. How far will this clash escalate, and who stands to lose the most? The opening act unfolded quietly, away from public view, in a private phone call that carried historic weight. On one end was the President of the United States. On the other, the CEO of a company long seen as a beacon of American innovation. The silence between them was heavy, the words carefully chosen. Yet that brief exchange ignited a conflict that rippled far beyond the two men. From that call, a new battleground emerged, where politics and business collided, and decisions once confined to corporate suites spilled into the global arena. Rather than defusing the tension, the aftermath only sharpened it. Boeing's CEO, Kelly Ortberg, stood his ground. Instead of retreating, he publicly affirmed a decision that soon shook markets, sparked political fury, and threw global supply chains into disarray. Burdened by years of financial strain and reputational damage, Boeing had been seeking ways to cut costs and regain its edge. Relocating part of its production to Mexico appeared a practical move, in step with global manufacturing trends. But the timing clashed with a political climate steeped in nationalism. What might have been a logical business step exploded into a political firestorm. The White House responded decisively, declaring that any aircraft assembled abroad would face a crippling 200% tariff if sold to U.S. airlines. The message was stark, the intent clear. Boeing risked losing a massive share of its domestic market, the bedrock of its success. Yet Ortberg doubled down, stating that Boeing's path would be guided by global competitiveness, shareholder value, and supply chain resilience, not fleeting political pressures. The tariff threat, meant to strong-arm the company, became a test of whether corporations could still act independently in an era where politics increasingly dictate economic choices. Behind closed doors, talks grew heated. Lobbyists, economists, and policymakers debated the fallout. Some warned of catastrophic impacts on the U.S. aviation industry, while others saw the tariffs as a vital defense of American jobs. Public discourse surged. The administration's supporters cast Boeing's move as a betrayal of national loyalty, while the company framed it as a matter of survival in a cutthroat global market. International repercussions followed swiftly. China, a major Boeing customer, retaliated with a 125% tariff on U.S. aircraft imports. Orders stalled, contracts were deferred, and billions in aircraft sat idle in warehouses, their fate uncertain. The ripple effects hit far beyond Boeing, disrupting suppliers, logistics firms, and communities tied to aviation production in places like Wichita, Kansas, and Everett, Washington. Boeing refused to stand still. Ortberg pivoted, redirecting stranded aircraft to fast-growing markets in South Asia, Southeast Asia, and Latin America, regions less entangled in political strife. The move signaled Boeing's intent to loosen its reliance on Washington's approval and assert its global independence. Results came quickly. In Q1 2025, Boeing delivered 130 aircraft, up sharply from 83 the prior year. Revenue climbed 18% to nearly $20 billion, though cash flow remained negative. Analysts were struck by the recovery's pace, with Ortberg forecasting positive cash flow by year's end. But the numbers only told half the story. European customers, like Ryanair, grew wary, warning they might turn to Airbus or China's COMAC if tariffs inflated costs. The message was clear: airlines prioritize affordability and stability over political disputes.